community college network here. So it's, yeah, to keep the kids.
I think so too. It's great, and they're great partners, and I mean, especially in today's world. I mean, I just think more and more kids are going to be taking advantage of that than they maybe even have in the past.
Yeah.
I got my paralegal degree from MCC and loved it.
Oh, you did?
That's a great college, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great system. We're very fortunate to have it here.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. And they've got a lot. That Tom Meyer that works there is just incredible. Gosh, they've got good thoughts and good plans, and they're go-getters. It's wonderful.
It's a great program. Well, at least the one I went through was great. A few of my teachers were circuit judges in Jackson County. So we got to like have super real legal experience right in front of us, which was really nice.
That's great.
Well, Tom just emailed saying congrats on the election, but I don't know if he's going to join the meeting or not. So do you guys want to go ahead and start without Tom and Michelle?
I think it's fine. As long as we have a quorum, which we do, I think we're fine to get started. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 12:03 p.m. First up on the agenda is approving the minutes from last month's meeting. Do you guys have any questions or comments on those? Oh, Tom's joining here.
I did. I would make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written.
Second?
I'll second that. Brian Clark.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay. Now on our agenda today, we've just got a lot of discussion items. So first up is the sales tax election update and next steps. As you guys all saw, we passed 16-2. And I got the notice sent over to the Department of Revenue, letting them know that the election passed. They received I let them know electronically and via certified mail, like the statute requires. The certified mail was received on March 31st, and I sent the electronic notice over on that Monday, which was the 29th, I believe. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, that tax should be effective on July 1. So we're just waiting on that official notice from DOR, letting us know when the sales tax effective date is. So we have until 45 days before the sales tax is supposed to become effective to collect the names, addresses, and sales tax ID numbers of all of the businesses within the district. So we'll need to figure out how we want to spearhead that endeavor. I understand you all have great community contacts. So I'm not sure if we want to get the city involved in this or not. I can certainly reach out to the city clerk and ask if she can have that information readily available, or if you guys just want to handle that all yourself.
I think we use the city, don't we?
I would say we take, if something's available, I would say we take it, maybe do our best to verify it, but at least that would be a great starting point.
Yeah, because usually in these, we have the city compile everything because they're going to have the best information. But with how hands-off the city has been with this, I just want to give you a heads up that they may just be like, hey, y'all are on your own. So I'm happy to reach out to the city clerk. We've got a great rapport, but I just wanted to give you a heads up based on what other city pushback there may be.
Yeah.
This may be something that we'll need to do on our own.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Okay. I'll reach out to Becky then and start getting that information together.
Tracy, this is Jeff Rogers. Do other cities tend to have a more hands-on approach to something like this?
Yeah, a lot of cities actually require that there are at least 1 or 2 city employees on each CID board, so
Okay.
that the city can keep a close eye on it. And they also require that the CID's funds flow through the city, so that the municipality has control of those monies and keep a better eye on it. So Independence is just one of those really weird cities that they just want to be hands off on some of these CIDs. They want to approve you and then just go let you run off on your own.
Okay.
Personally, Megan and I don't really understand why they do that. We think they should be more involved considering they created you. But I mean, what do we know? We just work here.
There you go. I get it. I totally get it. That was good information though. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions about the sales tax election or what we need to do next?
I think we're good.
Okay. Jumping over to successor directors. When we went over the bylaws at our last meeting, the bylaws originally had our successor directors being approved by the city via ordinance, and that's how that they would be done. But Megan brought up that in the petition, it looks like there needs to be a vote. So Megan looked into that a little bit more. And Megan, do you want to?
I can talk about it. Can you guys hear me? My internet's kind of wonky. It's storming out here. So, yes. So I looked into it. I remember there being some discussion when we were drafting the petition about whether or not we wanted to elect successor directors or have them appointed. And it was determined that they were going to be elected. That is not a fun process. It just means that every 2 years, when we have new successor directors that need to come on, we will be going through this whole kit and caboodle, kind of what we did for the sales tax. We'll be contacting the election authority. We will be doing notices and then having them do, a full-on election to elect directors. Now, you guys do have, like I said, quite a few registered voters, so it might not necessarily be a bad deal, a bad idea, but I do think it might warrant a conversation to see if we could potentially amend the petition to change that. But that's up to you guys. We can kind of see how it goes and then decide later. This doesn't have to be something we need to decide right now, but it's just something to think about.
No, I think we all kind of agree. I mean, if we have to go back to have an election, that's just a lot of extra work, and by people, the registered voters that really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where when we would send out the ballot, we would have a name in and a write-in option, but still you need participants, like we had for this one. We weren't sure if anybody was going to vote. So it's very strange. Usually they're appointed through city council and the mayor signs off on them. But for some reason, the city insisted on having an election for this one. So we can definitely.
This was put in our bylaws at the city request.
It was put in the petition.
When we were drafting the petition, I remember there being some conversation about it, and this change was made. I can't remember everything. I need to. Like I said, I want to make a phone call and have another conversation with them about it, but we wanted to talk to you first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with your guys' permission, we'd like to talk to the city about amending the petition to get this changed so we don't have to do an election.
Yes.
Okay. And with amending petition, it has its own hurdles that we have to jump through as well. It's basically kind of like submitting a new petition and starting the public hearing process over again. But doing another public hearing could be worth this hassle at the front to not have to do this election every 2 years for the next 30 years, so.
Well, because basically for doing an election every 2 years, we're talking another $5,000, right? To run the election. We need the Jackson County Election Board involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we would not be able to conduct the election for you. The statute requires that the election authority does it.
Right.
Because sometimes, like for transportation development districts, they have property owner elections to elect successor directors whenever their terms expire. So before annual board meetings, we have a property owners meeting, and the district conducts the election, where you just hand out paper ballots and you gather them up at the meeting, and it's all said and done right there. So it's literally 5 extra minutes worth of work. But with CIDs, it doesn't work that way.
So with the election, does the city council still have to approve the person elected and the mayor?
No.
Okay, so that was, okay.
No. That will be, so if we get it amended and changed, it will then be the board putting together a slate of individuals and then turning the slate into the city, and then the city will by ordinance pass, agree to those successor directors.
Which is how most of the boards work for the city.
Yeah, we've never ever seen a CID run like this before. So when I was drafting the bylaws, I didn't even think to look back to the petition to make sure that was the way it was. And then thankfully Megan caught it at the meeting, and this is just very, very strange. So
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think it's best to get it corrected sooner than later.
Okay.
Will an amendment require going back and getting a 50+% of all property owners? And
unfortunately,
yeah,
I want to double check on that, but yes, I think yes, it will be a process in and of itself.
Is that even?
for those of us who were involved in that process, let me know.
yeah, thankfully we're not under a time crunch this time. We were trying to beat the clock with legislative changes last time, so it got to be a little bit of a cluster. But we have 2 years until your next term expires. So we can take our time to do this right, and correct anything else in the petition, that needs to be corrected or that you guys want to change, and discuss that with the city. I mean, we've got a couple of years to get this done. So.
The head of this, we should take care of it. Somebody else that's what it's right.
I agree. Okay, yeah, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to
So
clean it up as best we can,
yeah. So Megan and I will get in touch with the city and figure out what they were thinking on this and see if we can change their minds.
Or was this something that it was the city, it was the people? Was like a Sean or Austin and Trevor? Well, we'll ask them. Okay. Okay, yeah. No, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. And we're going to leave the bylaws as they are for now until we figure out what's going on. And if we have to change them, it's a very quick amendment to the bylaws via board resolution at a meeting. It's not going to take much work at all to change it if we need to. Okay. Next item is the cooperative agreement between the district, city, and ISA. We've got a first draft done. Megan is in the process of reviewing it now, and then we will need to send it to you all in the city for review and the ISA for review.
There is one point that I wanted to discuss with you guys. I don't think it will go over very well, allowing the ISA to transfer all funds to the ISA, given they're not a political subdivision. What I think we should do, and what statutorily I think is going to be best, is that the district still holds all the funds and distributes them to the ISA. That is something we can talk about, but unfortunately letting a non-government agency access to government tax dollars, because we are a political subdivision, I don't think particularly go over super well. Did you hear me?
It's hard. I think I got the gist of it. Basically, you're saying that it's basically passing the money straight through would not be looked at favorably.
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I am so sorry. It is storming crazy up here. So I can imagine my internet connection is not super awesome, which is why I'm not on video actually. Yes, essentially that's what you said, that because we are a political subdivision, using government, taxpayer tax dollars, passing those through to a non-political subdivision to have access to just kind of do what they want, quote unquote, with not a lot of oversight. I don't think is a good idea. So I think we should have the district hold the funds and provide those to the ISA.
And as the ISA director, I would agree with that. We would want much more direction as to how funds are to be spent each year.
Okay. So that just means the district would need to set up its own separate bank account. And then we'll just need to send that information over to DOR so we can get ACH payments set up. You guys have anything else you want to discuss? Read the cooperative agreement.
I guess my only question would be on that, for as far as like direction to the ISA, is that done through budgeting items on our annual budget, or is there a separate process as far as directing those funds, the usage of those funds?
Well, I mean, it would be through the budget and just through normal communication. Like whenever you would get your insurance, bill for your premium for the year, I would send it over and direct you to pay this bill. And that would be the direction according to the budget. Or for our legal fees, send that over. But regarding like improvements, like CID district improvements, the CID has to fill, or the ISA has to fill out a worksheet about how much they're seeking reimbursement for. So it's not like they can just take money willy-nilly. You got to have an invoice or some type of paperwork showing the direction that needs to be taken.
And given how involved the ISA is with the board, this could also just be a good discussion at all of our meetings, right? That, we'll talk about what that money is going to be spent on. And then when they're submitting their reimbursable project cost certifications, it's just like, we're not surprised, right? We know what that money has been going to, and it makes it an easier sign-off process. But given how active they are, this won't be very difficult to discuss that.
Okay.
So we're not under like a certain deadline or timeline per se to get this cooperative agreement negotiated and done, but it would be in everybody's best interest if it were taken care of before the sales tax went into effect. So we're going to try to get it done within the next couple of months.
Yeah, I will revise the original draft, the cooperative agreement, to make those changes, and then we'll get you a draft out to you guys for review.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to our next item, the fiscal year 2022 budget. I sent it over to the city per the bylaws, and Mark Randall had a question. He was wondering, for this first fiscal year, do you all anticipate any type of reimbursement to the ISA for an improvement, or would it be just paying back the ISA for any fronted operating costs. Basically, during this first fiscal year ending June 30, 2022, do you think there will be any improvement costs that will be made?
I would say that would surprise. We'll have some coming in, but in order, first you got to get the money, then you got to plan something, and then find out who's going to do it and execute it. So I would think, my guess would be no.
I don't think by
June.
June.
That we would get squared up with ISA, reimburse them for cost up to this point. That would probably be the only expenditure, outside of insurance and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I told the city. I told them for this first year, it's just probably going to be paying back fronted operating costs. And in subsequent years, we can break out that budget item to be a little bit more specific on what we would be reimbursing the ISA for. But since the first year is always just kind of a, nobody knows what's going to happen, usually all of that just goes to fronted costs. Is that okay with everybody?
Agreed.
Okay. I'll let the city know about our discussion, and I also let them know that we had discussed at our annual meeting next year, perhaps amending the budget once we figure out exactly what the revenues were and being a little bit more specific in this amended budget. But the first year is always just kind of a best estimate. You never really know what's going to happen until those funds start coming in.
And they're not necessarily saying that we can't, right? They're just saying that if we do, they would want to know what it was for,
Correct.
right?
Yes, correct.
Something wonderful and spectacular comes along.
Yeah. No,
Good.
the CID is its own entity and it can do what it wants. But for government transparency, it is in its best interest to let the city know what it is doing with taxpayer funds. So he was just asking to see if we foresee any projects during this first fiscal year that would be paid out. And I think it would be too soon, but I wanted to check in with you guys before I gave him a definite answer.
Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
did you send out a copy of that budget? Did I just miss that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
can
I looked
resend
at
it
the
if you'd
packet.
like.
I didn't see it.
I'll resend it to you, Tom.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
We're good there?
Okay. So other business, I just wanted to mention, Tom, I still need your oath of office back from
Okay.
our last meeting.
Okay.
So I'll resend that along with the budget so you don't have to dig for it.
You don't need to resend it. I've got it on my desk. I just keep forgetting to get it back to you.
No problem.
Yeah.
And I also am going to need Michelle's, but I still haven't met her. So I'll just bug her again via email. Do you guys have anything else that you want to discuss?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, you guys like to schedule the next meeting here. I don't know that there's much to discuss if we meet again in May. We certainly can, or we can wait to meet in June, and that will be the district's annual meeting. And we will take care of all of our meeting requirements at the same time. So that's completely up to you guys if you want to meet in May or if you want to wait until June.
My only concern is mid-May is when we have to make sure that we're completely squared away on the list of merchants that need the tax IDs, right?
Yeah.
So it just matter if we could communicate well enough through email and everything to get that taken care of or not.
Yeah, and we can always just schedule a meeting. We're required to post a notice at the city and the bank at least 24 hours before the meeting. So if we decide at the end of April, hey, we should probably have another meeting in May, we can schedule it with a week's notice and then just make sure everybody's notice gets posted. So.
I'm fine with that, just based on what response we get from the city,
Okay.
how much information we get.
All right, we'll schedule for June 2nd at noon. That work for everybody?
Yep. Did you need a formal motion in order to establish a bank account?
No.
Okay.
No. Y'all can take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move to adjourn, Sean.
I'll second, Brian.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion adjourns at 12:28 p.m. All right, Tom, I'll get those documents out to you and I will get in touch with the city clerk about that business list and let you guys know what they say.
While you guys are all here, just wanted to remind you again about that grant opportunity that I've been sending out. The workshop is tomorrow. Missouri Main Streets, they have $730,000 that they'll be distributing in grants. So all of your businesses are eligible for that. So please take advantage.
Thank you, Jeff.
Very good.
All right. Well, you guys continue to enjoy the spring weather and stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.